The history and the architecture of Budapest is extremely colorful. Wherever you go, you can touch the memories of the past centuries. Are you coming to Budapest? Let me show you around. I'm Daniel, and in this video I'm going to share the history behind the most amazing landmarks of the city, like the Buda Castle, Chain Bridge, and the Hero Square. If you like this video, please hit the like button below or feel free to share it with your friends. I love to travel, so if you're interested in more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Did you know that the area of Budapest was once part of the ancient Roman Empire? The ruins of the city of Aquincum are located on the outskirts of Budapest. But how Hungarians came to the Carpathian Basin? As for many other nations, a circle of legends connected to our prehistory. We believe our ancestors were nomadic warriors, and you probably heard about Attila the Hun, right? During his reign, he was one of the most feared enemies of the Western and Eastern world. German, French, and Italian literature portrays him as the epitome of barbarism. Some stories say that the Huns and the Hungarians are basically the same nation. This is probably why we are called Hungarians and our country, Hungary, basically all in the languages. But we call ourselves Magyar and our country Magyarország. Why is this difference? A legend says, long time ago, there were two brothers, Hunor and Magor. They were hunters who started to follow a miraculous deer. After many days of chasing, they ended up on a large field, but lost their track back home. They decided to start two new tribes. After many years, the land was not enough for both of them, so the Magyars went west and the Huns went east. Another legend says our ancestors were organized in 7 tribes. Each clan or tribes had its own leader. They wanted to settle down in a defendable land. So with the lead of Arpad, the head of the tribes, the Hungarian land-taking began, and they came to the Carpathian Basin. Arpad became the founder of the country in 895. Hungary celebrated its 1000th birthday in 1895. To commemorate the millennium, many construction began all around the city. The landmark of Budapest, the central feature of the Hero Square, is the Millennium Monument, which reminds us to the Hungarian conquest of the Carpathian Basin. In the center of the square, you will find a column with a group of 7 mounted figures representing our 7 leaders. On the column, you will see the statue of Archangel Gabriel. In his right hand, he holds the Holy Crown of Saint Stephen, the first king of Hungary. He was the first of the Hungarians to become Christian and was crowned as king in December 1000. The crown was hidden, lost, stolen and returned many times over. It was even kept in America's Fort Knox for safekeeping. Now, it is displayed in the central hall of the Parliament building, which sits proudly on the bank of the Danube and serves as a seat of the National Assembly of Hungary. The Holy Crown of Hungary is older than the crown of the United Kingdom. The rim of the current crown was created in the 1070s. It is made of gold and decorated with 19 pictures as well as semi-precious stones and pearls. Did you know that Hungary was a kingdom until 1946, with many kings from the Austrian Habsburg family? Speaking of kings, the Buda Castle was the main residence for the Hungarian kings. The castle and palace complex lays on the Buda Hills and called either the Royal Palace or the Royal Castle. This district is filled with medieval, Baroque and 19th centuries buildings. The original royal residence was built in the 13th century and it has a really troubled history. It was destroyed and rebuilt over and over again. In the Middle Ages, because of the rise of the Ottoman Empire, Ottomans were a threat to Christian Europe. Most of the Hungarian castles, including the Buda Castle, was strengthened and new bastions were added. The Buda side castle wall was protected by the Fishermen's Guild, and this is the reason why it is called Fisherman's Bastion. This building was restored in a neo-Gothic and neo-Romanesque style and has 7 towers which also represent the 7 tribes. Despite all the effort, in 1541 the Buda Castle was occupied by the Ottomans and the country was divided into three parts: the Habsburg Hungary, the Ottoman Hungary, and Transylvania. The Vajdahunyad Castle, which was built as part of the Millennial Exhibition, was designed to feature copies of several landmark buildings from different parts of the Kingdom of Hungary, especially the Hunyad Castle in Transylvania. The building stands on an artificial island, and the surrounding lake serves as an open-air ice skating rink in winter. The Hungarian battles against the Ottoman Empire had significant consequences. The legend has it that the noon bell ritual commemorates the victory of the siege of Belgrade, which was part of Hungary that time. The Pope ordered the bells of every European church to be rung every day at noon as a call for believers to pray for the defenders. The Pope didn't withdraw the order, and the Catholic churches still ring the noon bell to this day. Did you know that the Matthias Church in the heart of the Castle district became the city's main mosque following the Ottoman capture of Buda? The original church on this site was founded by our first king, Saint Stephen, and this is why you will find his statue next to it. During the 150 years of the occupation of the Ottomans, many new buildings were built, not just in Budapest. Ottomans were the leaders in the spreading of the bath culture. Budapest sits on a patchwork of almost 125 thermal springs, and many Turkish bathhouses remained in the capital. If you have free time, don't miss to visit, for example, the Gellért bath or the Rudas bath. Did you know that the largest medical bath in Europe is in Budapest? Széchenyi Thermal Bath, located in the city park, has many indoor and outdoor pools and open all year round. Back to the history. After the recapture of the Buda Castle in 1686, the Hungarian nationalism emerged, but the Austro-Hungarian Empire stayed until the First World War. You probably heard that Pest and Buda was two separate cities. It's true. The Danube kept these two cities apart for centuries. Buda and Pest only merged in 1873, and a new capital city was born. The first permanent bridge, the Chain Bridge, is the symbol of Budapest skyline. The bridge is guarded by lions, but if you check them closely, they don't have tongues. If you cross the bridge, you will see another memorial of St. Stephen, the Basilica. You have to see the view of Pest and Buda from its rooftop. The Andrássy Avenue, so-called the Hungarian Champs-Élysées, connects the city center with the Millennium Monument. Underneath this boulevard of fine cafes and luxury boutiques lies the first underground railway in continental Europe, which was declared as World Heritage Site. On the Andrássy Street, you will find the Hungarian State Opera House. Its rich interior, the red-gold colors, provide a breathtaking experience, and the acoustic here considered among the world's finest. In 1914, with the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary, the First World War broke out. The empire could not divide its forces between the Russian and Serbian fronts, and in 1918 the war was ended with the fall of the German, Russian, Ottoman and Austro-Hungarian empires. The peace agreement, the Treaty of Trianon, formally ended the First World War. The Kingdom of Hungary lost 71% of its land, which was given to Romania, the former Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia. It's hard to believe that 100 years ago the coast of Croatia was part of Hungary. We were crushed, and the revision of Trianon rose to the top of Hungary's political agenda. We wanted to restore the greater country, so did Germany, which was also a huge loser of the First World War. The worldwide Great Depression did not help either nation. Because of the drop in the standard of living, the negative political mood of the countries shifted further towards the right. The Germans, led by Adolf Hitler, wanted to restore the German Empire, and the territorial revisionism appealed to the Hungarian desires. In 1941, Hungary entered the Second World War on the German side, and nationalist ideas raised. Jewish quarters in Europe offered protection to Jews. During the war, a large ghetto was created where the city center is today. The Dohány Street Synagogue was built before the First World War in the Moorish Revival style. It's now the largest synagogue in Europe and the second largest in the world. Nearly 500,000 Hungarian Jews were victims of the Holocaust. Every leaf of the weeping willow in the garden of the synagogue lists a name of a victim. Sadly, the bad times under the Germans were replaced by bad times under the Russians when in 1945 Soviets launched a strategic offensive and later the military occupation ensued. The House of Terror on the Andrássy Street was the headquarters for both the Nazis and the Communist secret police. This museum makes it clear that while the universe changed, the terror did not. For almost half of the 20th century, Russia's Soviet leaders controlled the Hungarian people. The communist rule came to an end in 1989. I was 3 years old then. The Liberty, or the Freedom Statue, stands proudly on the top of the Gellért Hill. However, it was erected in remembrance of what was then referred to as the Soviet liberation of Hungary during the Second World War. Now it commemorates those who sacrificed their lives for the independence, freedom, and prosperity of Hungary. Throughout the history, Hungary was barely independent. From the Ottomans to the Habsburgs, from the Nazis to the Soviets, it was always under the control of other nations. Even during our troubled times, we always believed in a brighter future. And now, we welcome you to experience our hospitality, unique cuisine, amazing landscape, and nightlife. I know every coin has two sides. This is our side of the history. So what do you want to do next? You can watch this amazing video, or you can start playing the playlist of my English videos, or you can smash the subscribe button below.